Hi, I'm Brian Garman, the artistic director and co-founder of Berkshire Opera Festival, and this is OperaLens, our new online series where we take a look at our upcoming season and at all things BOF. My guest today is the chair of opera studies at the New England Conservatory in Boston. Before this appointment, he served for 20 years overseeing the opera program on the faculty of the University of Michigan, and has spent the better part of 3 decades working as a stage director all over the United States and Canada, in addition to steering the ship at the Pine Mountain Music Festival as its artistic director for more than 10 seasons, starting back in 2003. I'm absolutely delighted that he will be the stage director for BOF's main stage production of Verdi's Falstaff this August. And it's my pleasure to welcome today, Joshua Major. Josh, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Thank you, Brian. I'm great, and it's wonderful to see you again.
Well, thanks. I'm sure, like you, I'm very much looking forward to starting to return to some kind of normalcy, whatever that might look like, and getting back to live performance again.
I can't wait. It'll be over a year at least since I'll have directed anything live for the live stage.
Yeah, so at NEC now, you just finished a production, is that right?
Well,
but not with a live audience.
Mm-hmm. We did 3 projects, but not for live audience. 1 live stream, 1 live capture, and 1 film. And it gave us. I mean, we were working, which is wonderful, and it gave singers an opportunity to prepare roles, although the final performance was in a different format. But we all got experience working with a camera.
Sure. Well, yes, indeed. Well, you're going to help us here return to live performance this summer with Falstaff, which I'd like to talk a little bit about today. This piece, of course, was Verdi's last opera, one of only 2 comedies that he wrote. And I think we both agree that it's really one of the world's great masterpieces. So I want to ask, what do you think is the key or keys to its greatness, and what explains its staying power?
There are technical things about it. It's masterfully constructed. And this we owe a lot to Boito. I think the ultimate answer is that it's incredibly human, and that it's truthful, and it says something about our condition that resonates with us deeply. I actually think it's quite fitting that you're doing this opera this summer, because I think I think as we come out of the pandemic, out of living under the constrictions and restrictions of COVID-19, we need and we're going to be searching for joy, for celebration, for community experience, human contact. I think this is a desperate need we have as humans. And I think, in essence, this piece celebrates this. It celebrates life. There's a joy in the piece that reflects Boito and Verdi's joy in writing the piece. And they wrote it under different kind of conditions that allowed them to just write whatever they wanted, and didn't have to worry about producers, recording on his back. He could write whatever he wanted because it was a secret when he started writing. And so for me, the piece contains this just ebullient, beautiful sense of joy and celebration. And I think coming out of the pandemic, we need this desperately. So I couldn't agree more. I think that's a wonderful way of looking at it. Is by thinking about the joy in this piece. It's sort of astonishing how much there is in it, and astonishing the youthfulness that this piece has when it was composed by a man who was just a few months shy of 80 at that point. We have hope.
We do indeed. We do indeed. I know that you've been working with our team of designers for the past few months to turn your concept of this piece into a reality. Could you tell us a little bit about the production that you've conceived for BOF and what our audiences might expect to see?
Sure. As you know, we've worked together in the past, and generally my aesthetic revolves around simplicity, because I'm a simple person. And I like very clean, straightforward storytelling. But I like to do it in the context of theatricality, of telling stories in a way that's a little more theatrical um, than we might normally. So what you're going to see is something that's spare, that's got a reference to a Shakespearean theater, where we see the parts. It's a platform. We can see under the platform. There's like we're in something that's been constructed for this. We'll see furniture. We'll see set. We'll see those pieces moving. I don't like to hide those things. I like to see the moving parts. And to me, that helps bring a theatricality what we're doing. We're not going to see something that is filled with clutter. We don't need that. I want to focus only on storytelling, characters, music. That's really,
Outstanding.
and generally that's what I bring to most of the things I direct. Is a
Mhm.
real simple, clear sense of storytelling. And I have great faith in and rely on the musical context.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, I look at your outstanding career, Josh, and I can't help but notice that the repertoire that you direct is extremely wide ranging. And I know that directors, like conductors, in a sense, sort of have to be good at everything. You know, we're not always successful at that, including me. But I wonder, is there a particular genre of opera that you enjoy directing more than others?
I do like it all, actually.
Mhm,
But I love Handel.
mhm.
Um, and as I get older, I like Handel even more. Um, I'm always excited and interested to work on new works. I think, and of course, we're in an incredible time, the most fertile period in history for new opera writing in this country.
Sure.
Um, but I really do like it all. I'm very fond of the 17th century, the early writing,
Mhm.
Monteverdi, Cavalli, these writers. That's all of it. I like it all, really. You know, probably Brian, you can relate to this. We generally like to do and do what we're paid to do.
I would say that's very true.
Somebody wants you to do something, they're going to pay you. I love it. I'll do it.
That's exactly right.
I do.
Have
I
you
like music. I like all forms of it. So
have you done a lot of comedy? I mean, how do you feel about comedic things? Do you find those especially challenging in any specific ways, or?
you know, everything has a challenge. Everything. Even the simplest looking things have challenges. Um, Comedy can be difficult. I enjoy doing comedy. Um,
Mhm.
this is no, I mean, Falstaff is, frankly, it's written so perfectly and so beautifully, that you just have to get on the train. You just have to step on the train and go. I actually have been fortunate to direct Verdi's other comedy, Un giorno di regno.
Mhm.
And I found it to be quite a good piece. Much, and from its early, you know, right when it got its start, it was maligned, and somehow that stuck with us. But actually, it's kind of a charming piece. It's a bit like Donizetti on steroids, you know. It's
Exactly.
really good, and I think Verdi had a great sense of comedy, but he kept it inside until the very end,
Mhm.
somehow. I mean, his life was so, you know, filled with tragedy, and you know,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So comedy is I love doing comedy. I mean,
I've conducted Giorno di Regno
uh,
also, in fact, and I remember the opening night of this um, production. I started playing the overture, and you're exactly right. It does sound like something out of Donizetti or out of a Rossini comedy, and you hear people rustling their programs to make sure that they've come to the right place, right? But you know, as you were talking about the production that you're creating for this August, I was thinking about the last time that I did this piece, which, as you mentioned, we worked together, and the last time that I did this piece was with you at the Crested Butte Music Festival in Colorado. Obviously, that production and this production will look different. They're both new productions in very different theaters where the physical space itself is quite dissimilar. But it got me thinking, when you revisit an opera that you might have directed a number of times, how do you keep it fresh? In other words,
hmm.
do you ever rethink your interpretation or feel like you have to tell a different kind of story with the piece?
Sometimes, yes. I think Um, every time we do something, we are looking at it from a new perspective, which is based on our own aging and our own living. And I think you want to constantly reevaluate what you're doing. The worst thing to do would be to try and recreate something. So that
Sure.
every time you do it, you have to look at the parameters you're doing it in and the lens of where you are in the moment. So generally, every time if you do a show, it's the conditions are always slightly different. The theater's different, the size of the stage is different, you know. But the biggest difference, and what I rely on, are the singers themselves. So that what keeps it fresh for me is that you're working with different artists every time you do it. And you have to, you know, as a collaborative form, you're working with them. And I want to work with them because that to me is what's going to make it more interesting and different, and what they're bringing to it, and you know, how we tell the story. So
Right.
for me, it's about the singers to keep it fresh in the end.
Sure. Sure.
I mean,
Well, Josh, I'm afraid our time is about up for today, but this has been very interesting to speak with you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us today. And I can't wait to do this wonderful opera again with you in a couple of months.
thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure to see you in particular, but I'm very excited to work with the company and see you all.
Thanks so much. First dinner's on me.
I'll accept.
And a reminder for all of you at home that you can learn more about our upcoming season by visiting our website, which is www.berkshireoperafestival.org, and by subscribing to our YouTube channel. I look forward to seeing all of you on the next episode of OperaLens.